All right, so uh, I don't think I did a good job of explaining how these slices work individually. I didn't focus on the exact wiring. I only focused on how to actually use them. So in this video, that's what I'm going to cover. Basically, the wiring of these slices, and I'll give you the actual downloads for if you just want the interface or if you want the interface and the Cartmis that goes with it. So that will be the slice ready to have your items inputted in them. You'll have to run a couple of global wires though to actually use these slices without the big ass storage system. I'll go first with the full slice. I want to explain the Cartmis because I'll try and go in order of things like the order in which they operate when you use the slice. And so the first step would be the actual Cartmis system. So in this slice, the Cartmis uses a logic with unstackables. So you would send your cards with this kind of setup. Could be any number of item in this first slice, but no more than 63. When your card finds a chest that has one item that's sitting in here, it's going to suck that item. Once, shit, I'll get that fixed in the proper download. Yeah, when you remove one item, because it's going to pick up that item, it's going to change the signal strength of this, which will change the signal strength of storage, this dust, and change the orientation of the rail, which will allow the minecart to enter the slice. Once our card enters the slice, it's going to go into this bubble column. It's going to go up into this rail. It's going to get pushed this way because there's a solid block over here. And it's going to go onto this redirected rail. The reason why we have a redirected rail is pretty genius. Some stuff that Mooney figured out. When the card is like this, you can see that the hitbox intersects with the hopper over here, which means that this hopper will be able to pick up one item from the cart, and it just turns out that it will be that one item that we picked up from this chest. So it's gonna get removed and funneled back into that same chest. It then keeps going onto this bubble column, and it can enter the slice. So over here it's going to go through a card separator, and the way that this works is basically the fuck. Oh, that's because I I didn't disable the hopper locking. Oh my god, that's my bad. Should do that everywhere actually. Yeah, that's my fault for not doing everything like I should have before starting this. Okay, let me send the last card over here. Okay, so this system basically is going to yeet the first card, and then it's going to have a bunch of items sitting into this hopper. And while it has items in this hopper, it's going to keep this compare powered, which will force this trapdoor like this. And basically the only thing it does is that it prevents more cards from being pushed and sent to this hopper, which will feed items into the slice. Yeah, and when the items are all drained from here, it pushes the next card, like you can see here. It tried, but now there's no card. The items are funneled through here, and they will be read when they come to this hopper over here by these comparers. When you have a regular item, a 64 item, 64 stackable item, it will give off a signal strength of 1, and that will do nothing. But when you come to the unstackables, which will be the hopper cart and the water bucket, it will input a signal strength of 2, which will unpower this redstone torch, which will allow this hopper to suck the unstackable and send it to this hopper line. And this is where we are going to actually collect all of the unstackables. I should do this on both sides, as well as unlock all of this, just so that it's easier to use. This is, yeah, okay. Everything should be unlocked like that. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, I think that pretty much sums up the Cartmis part. Perfect. Now we can go through this new wiring over here. There's quite a lot more logic involved in here. So first of all, the items, when you input them, you're going to input them into this hopper. It will make its way through. What the fuck? Why is it? I locked it over here again. I should unlock everything. Keep this powered. Like that and like that. You know what? We'll go back to here and I'll show you the actual hopper locking wires over here. So for the Cartmis system, you have a repeater line that's going to go through all of the repeaters like this. I'm going to extend it because it wasn't extended. So that's how you're going to lock pretty much all of the hoppers around here. So this one, this one, this one. This one is locked by default, so no issues with that. Then all of this upper part is going to be controlled via this wire over here, which also controls these 3 hoppers like this. You can see it controls pretty much everything over here. Makes it pretty simple to use. Like that. Now everything's unlocked. Okay. This wire over here is going to be the how do you call that? The buffering of the hoppers at the back over here. So if your slice starts to fill up these chests or shulker boxes, you'll end up with a bunch of items sitting in the back of these hoppers like this, like in every storage, except that unlike every storage, the storage is smarter and it lets you send all of these items into the shulker box once you toggle this wire, and I'll show you how it works in an instant when I go to here. But yeah, this is how you control the buffering at the back here and send the items to the box loader. And over here, you just have more hopper locking for the feeding of your empty shulk boxes to the slice. And then the last wire over here is going to be just for these hoppers that control the hopper locking of the overflow protection. Now, these I said are for the overflow protection hopper locking, but they also serve another function. So in here, you would have your shulk boxes, your full shulk boxes that could fill up like this if you don't pay attention, and then they could also fill all of this before they can actually go to this dropper and then be fed into here, which will send them to the overflow protection water stream over there. So basically, if you just send a bunch of powers to this, you can actually trigger this dropper, which will send all of your shulk boxes up here. So if I trigger this, you'll see that our shulk boxes are making their way up. So that is neat to use once you're done basically operating the slice. It's also going to trigger this dropper, which might have just a single full shulk box in here. If you do happen to trigger the overflow protection over there. All right, now we can go to the actual interface itself with just its wiring. Since we just covered the hopper locking part and the triggering of the overflow protection, we don't need to cover that again. So that would basically leave us with the, I guess, the box breaking and the safety features. All right, so let's say that all of this is full of items. In here, same thing. And then we'll just make it almost full. If you send more items over here, you'll see that it's going to fill up. And once it reaches over here, we're going to actually force the slice to send more items into the box loader, regardless of if we actually wanted to send them to the box loader via this wire over here for the buffering of items. So you can keep your items buffering in here, and if they buffer too far up, the system will be smart enough to bypass your order and send your items straight to the shulker box, so you don't have some overflow issues. So you can see we have this set up so that our items stay buffered, and they stay buffered except for except for what was causing issues. And yeah, we just sent what it took to make this safe again, so we can send more items again and there won't be any issues. It's just going to fill back up. And if once again we fill this up to this dropper, we send more items to the shulk box, and that's going to prevent the overflow over here. Once you release that, however, stop, yeah. Once you release that, all of your items will be drained to the shulk box. So usually what you would probably want to do is to just have your items all go through here while you allow for buffering for your items to go up so they can go to the top chests or shulk boxes in this case. And once you're done sorting, you just remove power from here and you let the items drain and go to their shulk box or the accessible box holder over here, where they'll go through this barrel once this is all full. Okay, now we can actually touch on the box breaking over here. So once this is all full, nothing happens, even if it's max signal strength like this. It's going to take one more item. And when you input that one item, the item will go to this basically magic dropper line. And this is pretty special. When you have your items sent in here, it's basically this compare that's going to trigger this torch and all of that stuff over here. So it unlocks this hopper and it triggers the clock, which is basically here. And the clock will power all of this stuff over here. And it triggers this dropper, then this dropper, then this dropper, by using some priority stuff over here. And what happens is that the comparer can never read that there's an item over here because it goes in and out in the same game tick. So there's no way it can detect the item until the shulk box is full. Then the item won't be able to enter the shulk box, so it's going to stay stuck in this dropper, which the comparer will be able to read, and it will trigger the full shulk box detection. The full shulk box detection works with this piston over there. It's going to get quasi-powered by the comparer. It's going to push the log and the redstone block. The log will give a signal to this leaf block, which will trigger this piston to go up, power this line. It does power the adjacent line, in this case like that. It doesn't cause any issues though. And yeah, that will force the clock basically to keep going even if there are no items in this hopper, because you need to remember that the clock is usually controlled by the reading of items in this hopper. So when there are no items in here and there are in here, we want to actually force the clock to run to actually get rid of all of the items in here. Otherwise, we would just end up with our items stuck in here and we couldn't actually process a new box breaking ever. So yeah, the top part just does that, and you can see that this observer can also QC power this piston, and so the box breaking usually goes like this. And when you run out of items in here, the sticky piston will pull the log. The leaf block is going to have a change, which the observer will detect. And it retracts this piston, which is usually extended when this powers. And it also powers this piston, which pushes back the redstone block and the log back in its place. Now the redstone block over here is going to power this piston with the observer. Go over here, and it's going to push this piston up. And now this concrete powder block is going to trigger both this piston and this piston via quasi connectivity at the same time, and it's important that it's at the same time. So this piston will push and break the shulker box, and at the exact same time, we remove the power from this hopper, which allows for instant shulker box collection. And it's important that the collection is instant, because if it took just one game tick, there would be a chance for the shulker box item to just boop, glitch out like that, and that wouldn't make for a reliable collection, which could lose you items. So the system is made to be reliable. Then there's also the thing that this uses a composer. Usually you'd see composers used for zero tick collection, where you just basically have, let's say, your shulker box like this, and then the zero ticking of a composer would just teleport the composer and trap the shulker box like this, so the piston could then retract the shulker box and a hopper could pick up the shulker box like that in the moving composer. But in this exact scenario, that's not the case actually. I don't know if you consider that smart or brain dead, but instead of just having a stop to this clock, this piston just stays extended long enough so that this clock is going to click one time and try to send an item into the would-be shulker box over here, except it would be the composer this time. And the composer is pretty unique as a block. It counts as an inventory, so the dropper is going to try to send an item into the composer, except that the composer, even though it's in inventory, it can't take the item. But since it is an inventory,
kick that nigger bitch off the plane!
I did hold. So this dropper, since this is an inventory, but it can't pick up the item, it's just going to make a false power. But if you were to use a regular block instead of a composer, the dropper just would ignore all of that and just spit out a block that would just glitch through. So the composer just prevents the dropper from shooting an item out. And then it retracts soon after, and then the box will be dispensed and everything can go according to plan. So yeah, you have this going on. Then once the actual piston motion over there is all triggered, we go through this trapdoor, which powers this wall stone over there. This observer sees that, goes through this observer, powers this, goes over here. It powers more of the droppers, and the dispenser will dispense the new shulker box. We then have the triggering of this part over here, which will be the overflow protection in case your place for your shulker box, full shulker boxes, is full. And then this will also fill, but this basically your full shulker boxes are going to end up here getting sucked over there and go to this rubber, and so they're going to get spit out into this water stream via this piece of wiring over there. And holy shit, did I just cover everything right now? I think I did. All right. Maybe I should have explained a little bit better all of this wiring bit. Um, yeah. So this comparator basically is reading from this. It goes to this torch. This torch is going to control the clock that is read then by this observer and goes to these droppers to feed items into this accessible box holder. It also controls the hopper locking over here, which actually lets the items from here drain to here and then to the box holder, to the dropper thing, and into the box holder. This part over here is also controlled when you trigger the full box detection over here. So when there are items in here and it needs to funnel everything out into the new box, the new shulk box, it's going to power this torch, and via this torch it keeps this hopper locked, so that we keep all of this locked, and this can empty without having new items come in. Now this dust over here can be powered either by the overflow protection, which was that dropper over there, or by the triggering of this piston, which raises this up and powers this over here. So that keeps the clock running. Apart from that, the rest was explained properly. Alright, well, that will be it. So I'll give you the links for these two slices in the MindMev and the MediaFire folder in the original video for this thing on the main channel. And I'll also give you a link in this video, which is this is the second channel basically, where I just post unedited stuff. So yeah, I'll go do some more work on actually I got a day 6 video coming up. It's gonna be quite funny. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching. Bye.